why it didn't count down for me. But we're here. I don't know what happened. Hello, everybody. And just when you thought it was safe and Mercury had turned direct, everything's still messy. So welcome. I want to welcome my friends Heather and Priscilla from the Crone Zone. I'm so happy to be back with you ladies.
Yeah. Oh, we're thrilled to be here.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's been a while and way too long.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was on your show, and then I know that you guys have been working, doing things, moving, going here, going there, being with family. So I'm just glad we could find a time to work together again. So thank you.
Well, you're actually our last show for a while. We are going on hiatus for 4 to 6 weeks. We're not quite sure.
Okay.
So we'll see. I'm getting my van. I'll be on the road. I have no idea how things are going to work.
A new lifestyle.
So
yes,
Heather and I'll figure it out, and then we'll be
You'll
back.
figure it out from there. That's right. Yeah. The best part of I actually even have a sign here that says traveling van location shows. That's what I want to manifest.
Well, mine, I have finally manifested. It's taken a year and it'll be ready. Actually on Tuesday, I'm picking it up on Thursday.
I hope you post some pictures though, Priscilla. Will you do that?
I intend to.
Okay.
I definitely am doing a video when I pick it up for sure.
Right.
And we'll see. I plan to. We'll just have to see how well I can do these things.
Yeah, I know. I totally get it.
But I do have a friend going with our friend Jenny. She's joining me in Denver, and we're flying out. And her sister lives there, so we're going to be staying with her sister and driving back together. So I think it'll be hilarious.
Oh, you'll have a great time. That is awesome. That's really great. Yes. And so what have you been up to, Heather?
I'm looking for a new place to live. I've been informed that I need to get out of the city, which is nice because I really don't care for it.
Informed by spirit. Informed by spirit.
Okay. Yeah. You're being forced.
Yeah.
She's not being thrown out.
No. No, between the cards and astrology, and they both say the same thing. And I've even had people describe what I'm looking for, and I'm going, okay, yeah, that sounds like me. So I'm looking. When I find it, I'll know. But until then,
I understand. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
I've got plenty of time.
Yeah, and so many of us are making some decisions based on lots of different scenarios that we're living in right now, and we just never know where we'll all be. So
I'm actually thinking of that southwest corner of Canada right now.
I get you. One of my favorite places that I would like to go to and have every intention of visiting at some point is Banff in Alberta.
Oh, I'll pick you up on my way.
Okay,
I haven't been there either. My daughter
right above Montana, and there's actually a college there looking for a teacher, and I applied, but I don't even know if that. I'm 70 years old. I don't know if I want old folks coming to their country.
Their loss. Their loss.
You're just a youngster.
Yeah, but it is beautiful. And there's Linda de Gonzalez, who is in British Columbia. And of course, that's another beautiful place.
Are you in British Columbia? That's fantastic. Yeah. I may see you this summer.
There you go. There you go. There's a lot of good folks that lived up there, honestly. So let's say hi to a few people. Juan Luis, it looks like, and Laura and Anita. And of course, we have some Crone Zone hellos as well. We have Juanita. This is Juanita, Ruby Starfire, Laura, Play, Love, and Remember. And then this is Linda de Gonzalez. And she said, you'll be neighbors. There you go. And then we got Lulu. Lulu's also from Canada. So how about that?
Fantastic.
Yeah, very nice.
I've never been to Canada. And my daughter's crazy about it. No, I'm from Texas. Canada's like the other side of the world. Now, Mexico, I've been to several times.
I used to spend summers in Canada.
Did you? Yeah.
Northeastern part, and had friends from New York City that would go up there, and then I would go visit them for a week or two.
Yeah.
It's completely different. When you're a youngster, it's hard to get used, because they spoke as much French or more.
Well, on the East Coast, definitely they do, because I've been to the Maritimes, all the Maritimes, because I lived in New Hampshire, and my parents went to Toronto. I went to Montreal, and I've also been to Victoria, but that was before. I just took a boat over to Victoria, British Columbia, but I haven't been to Vancouver yet. But I do have here. If you live close enough, you get your driver's license, and it's both sides. I mean, it allows you to go over as well.
Cool.
Yeah, and I can remember the little town we stayed in, but not the bigger towns that everybody knows where I'm talking about. I know it was Senadell, but I don't know where Senadell was, other than
I get it.
Northeast. It's above the Great Lakes.
That's true.
I never spent any time on the East Coast, so you
haven't been over
territory. I mean, Key West was as East Coast as I ever got. I mean, I've been to New York City, and I worked in New Jersey part-time when I lived in England, and that sort of thing.
You don't have a Texas drawl. I don't hear any Texas in you.
My mom and dad were pretty adamant not to.
Okay.
And I was going to say, I grew up on the East Coast, and I know that I do not have that accent.
Yeah, that's very
true. My folks
spend time in other places, and that helps.
Yeah. That's true.
I've lived in 11 different states, and I know you can still hear my Boston accent sometimes. But
yes, you can.
Than it was. Yeah,
I can hear it. No, when I went to school in Kansas, there were only two words. One is bureau, as an addresser, and water. I said water differently than they did.
Oh.
So that's the only
it's better than my husband. He's from Kentucky, and it's either it's not a ladle, it's a ladle.
A ladle.
A ladle.
I was firmly told when I was going to school out there that it is not the Arkansas River, it is the Arkansas River.
Oh my goodness.
It is not the Arkansas River.
In Texas, it's Arkansas.
It's Arkansas.
Arkansas.
And I was told that emphatically.
Well, that's funny because, I was just in New Mexico in Madrid. Only the locals call it Madrid.
Absolutely. And they call the New Madrid Fault in Missouri. That's how they pronounce it. And in Kentucky, wait till you hear this one, ladies. There is a Versailles in Kentucky, but it's pronounced Versailles.
Versailles.
Oh my God! Somebody didn't know how to pronounce.
No, they didn't know how to say
it. Versailles.
Yeah,
and there is a Manhattan in Kansas, because that's where Kansas State is. That's just where I went to school.
That's where you went.
And they called it the Little Apple. The Big Apple was our New York.
Right. That's something else. Wow. Yeah. So I do want to say hi to Sarah, who has a channel, as well as Linda, who has a channel, and this Linda has a channel. I mean, we've got a lot of people doing a lot of channeling, and I love it. It's wonderful.
We love it. The more the merrier.
The more the merrier.
And
I'm not familiar with all of them, but except for Linda Day Gonzalez, and she's amazing. She's an amazing reader.
Yeah. And so Dawn says she's an hour and a half from Banff.
And Dawn has horses, which makes her even more exciting.
More exciting. And look, it must be Canada Day. I don't know, because there's Sharon. And Sharon's in
Sharon.
BC as well. So we love our Canadians. We really do. Yeah.
And both Priscilla and I are horse people. So
yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So today, I don't know if you've not watched the Crone Zone before. They do an awful lot of discussions, and they're fabulous, and they also do other things. Please make sure you go over and like and subscribe to the Crone Zone. They have Valerie on and Jean on, and everybody comes to the Crone Zone. So make sure that you sign up. And we're going to talk today about the garden. The idea of the garden as a spiritual metaphor. Yeah. And all of us sort of pulled in a little bit of information to share, and we want to hear from you as well, because it's very important. That keeps the conversation really going.
Well, you know what? I get so much love and light from our chat room, and I get so excited when the chat it gets involved. joins
Yeah.
in. It's my favorite thing to talk to the chat and have them join in.
Absolutely.
Right.
We wouldn't be
Because
here without them.
a lot of times they mirror our experiences,
They really
or
do.
they have something new that we hadn't even seen before.
Correct.
So
And I wanted to thank Play, Love, Remember, because when she said Quebec, that's
Yep.
where I went every summer.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, it isn't far when you're on the East Coast. I mean, I have also been on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. I forgot about
Me
that.
I've
too.
never been to Niagara Falls either. I do have
I
to.
remember that, and they are so impressive.
They're beautiful. What was really fun though was I had my son with me. He was about 11, and we went over to the Canadian side, and he had like $2 or $3, and he went into the gift shop, and he buys a postcard or I don't know, some small thing, and he comes out and he goes, "Look at all the money I got back."
That's when the dollar was strong.
That's when the dollar was
It
really
won't be
great.
that way anymore.
Oh, no, not anymore. We can thank somebody for that. But it was so cute to see him because his eyes are like saucers. You know, he knew he could. And I'm like, well, you better spend it over here because when you get that over there, it's not going to be so good.
It's not going to be the same.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. And CJ, is today Canada Day?
Oh, no wonder.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Well, hi, all you Canadians.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
not all insane. I promise you,
Yeah.
we are not all insane.
Yeah. And Sharon says, we know it. It's not us. It's you know who. And that's it.
You know
Yeah.
who and
And-
thievery.
Yes.
And for Ruby Starfire, actually, what we will be talking about is your garden, as you were saying, in relationship to our spiritual.
How many of you guys out there are gardeners? I was. I've always
Yeah,
been.
I never was until I moved into this house. Yep.
Really.
I
No.
was when I lived in Kansas, because that's how we ate. It was
Sure.
the garden was bigger than my whole apartment is.
Oh, it's not really Canada Day. They're just saying
Oh,
it's
okay.
Canada Day because
okay.
everybody from
You
Canada.
can make it our very own personal Canada Day. Okay.
Yes, yes.
That's okay.
fine.
It's just
Hey,
because we
Lauren.
have so many Canadians. That's cool.
Oh, it's July 1st. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's drinking. Oh, well, yeah, she just was saying it because I said it. Sorry. Yeah. So, Play Love, you are butterfly readings with Linda. You have a black thumb. I pretty much did too, Linda, but for some reason, I just got a little more interested. But, you know, I have to buy the stuff. I don't plant anything really. I mean, I buy it and plant it. I don't.
There's nothing wrong with that if you can keep it alive. I go to the nursery and pick up my baby plants. I don't have a greenhouse where I can start things from seed and all of that. I tried that when I lived in England. It was just way too much work.
Oh, yeah.
And when I lived on the farm in February, we're going through the catalog, Gurney. Okay.
Yes.
And pulling out
Yes.
seeds, saying, order this seed, order this seed, order this
Yeah.
seed, you know. And because, like I said, I mean, I have a 1-bedroom apartment, 600 something. And our garden was bigger than this.
Oh, sure.
Just the formal part. I mean, that
Yeah.
didn't include where we planted potatoes and a bunch of other stuff. So
yeah. I'm not a person that I remember one time I was probably in 10th or 11th grade and I bought some carrot seeds and some celery or something. And I went out and I put them in and I never looked at them again. And of course they didn't grow and I couldn't figure out why. Because I didn't intend
What
to.
happened? Well, that's perfect
You can do
because
that
you
with
know
potatoes.
you have to plant.
They will grow.
You have to worry about the soil that you're planting your intentions
Absolutely. Yes,
in.
you
have to
do.
pay attention and make sure that you fertilize your intentions, right?
You absolutely do. If you know, there's a lot about how also the land has to lie fallow for a while.
Yeah, fallow.
Isn't it FARR or is it FALL?
No, a furrow is one of the little lines when you're using a plow. You know,
Oh,
that's
okay,
a furrow.
That's
Okay.
FUR.
Yeah,
You are correct.
FUR.
It's FAR for
Farrow.
fallow.
Okay.
Fallow.
Fallow. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's that the nutrients and everything are brought in, isn't it? That they're brought into the food, and if you plant after that, it just doesn't have the best growth.
And during the Dust Bowl in Kansas, they learned you had to leave it because you needed to replenish the moisture for the year. If you
Sure.
kept planting over and over again, you
Yeah.
had the Dust Bowl.
Sure. Sure. That
So-
makes
And then
sense.
they've come up with, planting legumes to raise the nitrogen in the soil, and they have different methods now
Mhm.
that we know of scientifically.
Yeah.
Really,
Scientific stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, my mother was always somebody that loved having a garden, and she, between trees and bushes and getting out there and raking and all, she was always doing all that
My
stuff.
mom and dad weren't into it, but I had a great aunt that was, and she canned and did all that stuff. She was a great cook.
that was me
Kind
too.
of like you, Heather. She was a baker as well, a phenomenal baker.
Well, when you're out in the country and you're farming, that's what you do.
Sure.
I remember that my folks started doing it after we were doing it, my husband and I. And actually, the rototiller that they used, my son has, and it still works. And he still uses it.
It probably was so well made at the time.
It was the best one made at the time. And it has been rebuilt several times. But
that's amazing.
yeah,
I remember, I can't wait till I can afford a rototiller.
That's cute.
For my
That's
garden
cute.
when I was gardening in the city, because
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
there's a lot of people doing container gardening as well. And I think that's what
Right.
Linda was talking about. She's going to clean off her patio and all the pots and start anew. And there's just something really wonderful about that. Because now you don't need, if you've got a container garden and you've got enough room to put in, like I do that with herbs. I have some in
I did too in Key West.
Yeah.
I had a container garden in the backyard where the deck was, but in the front was a nice brick walk and all kinds of different beautiful plants.
Yeah.
But one thing about when you're doing any of that, whether you're an apartment or you actually have a garden, if you're getting close to the dirt and if you're getting dirty,
you're getting grounded.
Exactly.
Yes, you are.
You're getting grounded.
Yeah.
So it's good for you in so many ways.
So many ways, right? And
really
and
is.
you might as well go barefoot as well while you're out there, because you're going to get your sneakers all dirty anyway. So why not?
Oh, I always went barefoot. It drove my dad crazy, but I never wore shoes.
Yeah.
Still don't.
Growing up in the South as well, a lot of, at the time we grew up, then people didn't wear
We
shoes.
never wore shoes. Well, I mean, we did when we had to, but to just be out in the yard and laying in the grass watching the fireflies at night or watching the stars at night when you could just lay down in the grass.
Yep.
And I did that in the city or like where I grew up. But when I moved out to Kansas, you had to wear shoes because of stickers and stickers and thorns. I mean, they just cream your feet.
They were what are they called? Goat heads?
Oh, those are terrible.
Jesus Christ, those things will poke a hole in you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It reminds me.
Coming out, I swear they're barbed because they hurt pulling them back out.
Yeah,
too.
they do.
Yes, they do. Out here, you'll drive up the highway in Washington State, and you'll see all of these yellow flowers in the median strip. And a lot of people think it's forsythia or something like that. And they cut it and they bring it home. It's awful. It is awful. It is.
What is it?
You sneeze. I don't remember the name of it. I can't remember.
Goldenrod. My mom was
like goldenrod in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I love the smell of grass too, but I can't sniff it very long because I'm allergic.
Yeah, that's what happened to me the older I got, unfortunately. Yes.
Just like I love the smell of pine. It doesn't love me back.
It doesn't love you back. Yep. We go through different times where we're allergic to different things.
Yeah, for sure.
So hi, Julie Moon, and hello to Clean Music Lover. You started doing herbs last year for the first time. If you plant dill, the rabbits won't eat your herbs. I didn't know that. Well, that's really cool.
And also make sure that you keep it penned because dill will run rabbit and take over your whole garden.
Yeah.
We didn't have rabbits. We had bloody iguanas, and they ate anything but citrus, basically.
And
they would wipe out your garden in a night.
Yeah. Wow.
God, I hated those.
Well, I got a lot of deer here that really are interested in
deer.
eating
I like deer. The skunks you can keep.
Yeah, that's very true. Well,
and the rattlesnakes that like the garden.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about using the idea of a garden as a metaphor for our spiritual life, or could be even not our spiritual, could just be our life in general.
Yeah.
And how we often think of gardens as a reflection of our personal journey, a symbol of growth, because gardens hopefully grow, and where we can care and nurture for the plants, and in return they flourish and bring us joy. Care and feeding of ourselves
Ourselves,
is like that as well.
And we're
So,
all headed towards the beautiful. And a lot of people think, and I was telling them earlier, it's like roses. That's what you're headed towards. But remember, there are thorns along the way. And to me, the thorns are like your shadow work.
yes, definitely. Definitely.
So,
Because there wouldn't be rose without thorns, or there
Right.
wouldn't be life without good and bad.
Some of those
well,
things
you
that
have to
you
have
take care of.
Yeah.
contrast so you know what you do want rather than
Mhm.
we're really good at knowing what we don't want. We're not so great
Correct.
at what we do want. And that's
Exactly.
part of growing the garden is knowing, deciding what it is important in your life. What is it you want in your life? How do you follow your path in life? All those little seeds, you have to determine first what it is you want. And I
Right.
think we all fail at what we want. We just are really familiar with what we don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
But if
It's the same with affirmations. You don't want to say what you don't want. You want to say what you want.
exactly, you want to say
Exactly.
what you
What you
want.
give attention to is what you're going to have.
But you
Right.
also have to water those
If you don't take
seeds.
care of that garden, you're not going to have it.
Right.
Yeah. And you
Yeah,
have to water those seeds like with education and whatever else it takes to you think to meet your dreams.
Lifelong education, not just education to a certain point. And I think a lot of us, we kind of forget that.
I never
I
quit
re-
learning. I'm
Yeah,
so damn
yeah.
curious. I'm
I
always
know.
learning
I am.
something
Well,
new.
I am too. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's for strawberry rhubarb tarot. It's interesting that there was a book
Oh,
called Tending
cool.
Your Spiritual Garden.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that either, Sharon. I'll have to check
I
into
think
it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's
very
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah. So there was the first time I ever thought about this is I read a book by the French philosopher Voltaire, I think it was,
Mhm.
and it was called Candide, and it's become a play. It's become all those other things, but at the very, very end, the philosopher says we have to tend to our own gardens, and we have, and it's like I never really thought of life
My
as a
life is
metaphor
a
for a
garden.
garden. And
Mm.
ever since then, it's like, oh my God, just everything about it makes sense
It
to me.
does. It really
It
does.
does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and when you think about it, I mean, there was the hymn "In the Garden" was one of my favorite hymns. And
Sorry, don't know that.
well, part of what it says, and it's done a lot for funerals, which is why I know, because I used to sing for funerals. But part of what it says is, and it's what I feel when I've got everybody around me and I'm talking to them. And I used to do this on the way home from school. I would talk to nobody. I would talk to somebody on the way home. And part of the lines say, and he walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me that I'm his own. And it's all very comforting.
It is. It's
And
the
being
joy
in
we
a
share
garden
as
that
we
is
carry
growing,
there. Yeah.
right. And being in a garden that is growing well,
Yeah.
you just feel great looking at saying, oh, look at
Mhm.
all that stuff there. And you've got flowers, you've got fruit, you've got vegetables. It's great. And sometimes you have to dig for things like the potatoes.
Right. Right. Because they're
Yeah.
underneath and you
Dig
don't
inside
realize.
yourself
Right.
to find what
Yeah.
you're looking for.
True. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wasn't it just the biggest revelation when you realized no matter how many books you read, no matter how far you studied, you had to do the work. None of it did it for you. You have to do it yourself. And it
You
was
can
like,
learn exactly.
I've been
Yeah.
reading all this stuff and I don't feel like I've learned anything. And then
Well,
one day
and
you
in
realize,
That says you have to do.
go back to Socrates, he says, all I know is I don't know anything. And because we have so much more we could know.
I
So
know.
Yeah.
That was the way I felt when I graduated college, when I was first going into art. And I'm going, but there's so much more we don't know. Until I went into the junior high classroom and I looked at them and said, oh, they know nothing. I can help them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's for
But
sure.
that's the way all of this is. And the more we get into it, the more we know we need to know.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of the reason you fought kicking and screaming about this show, is that you're saying, but I don't know enough. But you know enough to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to make somebody else curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
To make someone else curious,
Yeah.
and to make ourselves curious. Because, the thing is that, we need puzzles and things to keep our brains going, but we also need new stuff. I remember hearing one time that if you never learned, let's say you never learned anything after high school, and I know that probably is
what an
impossible,
ignorant
but
jerk I
let's
would
say
be.
you are operating from a high school mentality then.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't continue to learn,
and Mary Thornbury's right. And sometimes you come up with a weed that you better not touch.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There are those like poison ivy and poison oak and that too, Mary. Yeah.
But there are just sometimes, leave that one alone.
Yeah.
So true.
I love this. Life is full of challenges. Gardening's no exception. Weeds can symbolize the obstacles we face. Pests can represent the negative influences that try to hold us back. And seasonal changes can mirror the ups and downs of the entire experience.
I love that.
And I was going to say, as far as ups and downs go, bugs, insects, those kinds of things can also be the ups and downs.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I just got rid of mice in my house after years. And today I found out they're back. So it's like
they don't leave. They just temporarily. No, we on the farm, we always had outside cats. They were not necessarily in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But they lived outside, and I said, do your job. I will feed you if you really need it. But in general, they didn't need feeding.
Yeah. No,
have you tried Dr. Gus's rodent?
I've tried everything. Oh my God.
I'm kind of concerned about it with my van because it's an issue. It can be an issue if you
it can be. You let it sit for a while. Yeah, you got to be very careful.
It ain't gonna be sitting. It's gonna be good.
And there are mouse traps. I found mouse traps that you can never touch a mouse. You can release them and it takes care of it. But
you got to go like pretty far, Heather, because they love to find their people.
Oh, I just don't like mice at all.
Oh, I don't care for them.
I don't want them in my house.
I don't care.
It's so hard to clean up after them.
And
when I lived in the country, I lived on the farm. We had mice here and there. The worst things were scorpions. I really hate those.
Oh, well, that's a great. I'll try anything, Mary. Thank you. Baking soda with Jiffy mix.
Well, they love the Jiffy mix, and the baking soda makes things swell. Their tummy swell.
Well, same with rice.
Right.
The sad thing is in Hawaii, they put white rice all on the sidewalk, so the pigeons will eat them and die.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No,
it was kind of sad, but yeah.
And that's actually
a real pain in the ass.
And that was the reason they quit saying. And when you started getting bubbles for weddings, you weren't supposed to throw rice in it.
Right. Correct. Yes. Yep. Which is actually I like the bubble idea. Yeah. Hello, Paul, White Dragon, and Mary. We're glad to have you. Patricia Hernandez, what's going on with you? You, Walter and Willis Spirit Humpback Whales took you on a journey to Lemuria's gardens, and the message was to redo my small garden and as a bridge to Lemurian's gardens I visited.
Well,
that sounds lovely, Patricia. Yeah.
Nice idea.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so meaningful when you get into it. And I was gonna say, Amanda said that rodents don't like peppermint. Neither do bugs. So if you have bugs in your cupboards, just stick a gum.
Stick a gum. There you go. Hello, Scott. It's good to see you. Yes.
Is that Scott Allen? No.
Nope, this is not
Scott.
Scott
a
A.
different Scott. Yeah, but we're happy to have you here. So let's see. So I want to talk a little bit about preparation and how that can cross over.
Sure, you're braver than me, strawberry rhubarb.
So
I had to do that with a possum once, and I just breathed hard for a long time after I got done. I couldn't believe it actually had to do that.
I know.
Pick him up by the tail and throw him out of my house.
Oh yeah. I just don't. Mine wanted to. One of my dogs wanted to bring me a gift, and I didn't really want it. So
Yeah, my cats did that.
Yeah. But okay, let's talk a little bit about then. And if you have something in your notes that you found that you want to add, I want you to make sure you do.
Sure.
But
Sure.
you know, you got to clear the land, or you got to figure out where you want to put things, and you also have to know where to put those things with regard to how much sunlight that they will get, depending on where you live, right?
And soil amendments.
Yes. Uh-huh.
You might need a little manure. You might need to get your hands a
That's
little
right.
dirty.
You might have. You definitely have to get your hands dirty, whether or not you wear gloves or not. There's still some amount of dirt that
I could never wear gloves. I mean, I would wear gloves trimming certain plants, especially in Key West, because they would rip my skin apart.
Ooh.
But I liked feeling the dirt in my fingers. And when I was potting and doing stuff like that, I wanted the dirt. I wanted to feel it, and I couldn't feel it. Just didn't feel right with gloves on. So
No,
I never
get
did fingernails.
I would use gloves when I was working with the plants, but planting, no.
Yeah.
I wanted to feel the dirt too.
There you go.
But some of the plants are kind of prickly.
I like potting soil. I like the feeling of potting soil and the smell of potting soil. And I also, do you ladies, have you also used vitamins or plant food?
I was going to mention that. You need nutrients. And where the plants need nutrients, our nutrients are things like this show and having them with us, or the chat. We supply each other with the nutrients that we need to keep growing.
That's right. That's right. Like, and of course, just like that, they need the water. We need the water.
We need the water. We need the sunlight. They need the sunlight. We need the shade too.
We do. We do. Yeah, absolutely.
It's only dirt if it's on your kitchen floor. You're right. It's any other time.
And sometimes that's not true. Sometimes flour is just fine.
Yeah, that's true. And that's where I said get your hands dirty, and we agreed with that one. That you're probably going to have to get down on your hands and knees. And when I was younger, we used to have to do that and pray to the porcelain god sometime because we weren't taking care of ourselves as well as we probably should have.
Yeah, I know. At this point, for me, a garden needs to be on one of those elevated gardens. So yes, I can bend over, but I don't have to get on the ground.
I'm not so good on my knees anymore.
Or even sitting on the ground, getting back up again, it can be a chore.
Did you notice that? I don't know why that is, but yeah, it's like, how did I get down here, and how in the hell am I going to get up? So
I mean, help I've fallen and I can't get up has taken on a new meaning.
It certainly has. It certainly.
True enough.
Oh, I love this, Amanda. Vegetable water is good in banana skin water and potassium. That's
I've heard banana skin water.
Yes.
And I used to use, in Kansas on the farm, if it snowed and you couldn't get to the store, you didn't have milk, you didn't have eggs. I learned to make what they call potato bread, which is the water from boiling potatoes and the flour and the yeast and so that we always had bread.
Potato water is good for a lot of things. My sister used to always cook with the potato water.
Right.
My mother put potato water, squash water, something like that. She would put in the gravy at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think that's what my sister used it for gravy.
Yep. It's fabulous.
I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full of vitamins and nutrients, and it's just.
It's wonderful for you. Yeah. The other thing, of course, that we have to do, and the other thing that is important for life, is that we have to have patience, even though we don't want to ask for it, because that's not a good idea.
We have to have patience for
that's one of the first things we have to learn.
Yeah. Because you can't go out and pull up the flowers. Come on, would you grow?
Definitely.
Well, you can ask them, but it ain't going to hurry them.
Yeah, that's right. There they go. And
you also have to be prepared for not getting enough water and not getting enough sun, and what that does to you.
Or flooding, the opposite.
Or flooding.
Yeah.
And one of the things that took the most patience for me was going through after I planted all the seeds and pulling out little weeds so that only the plants were there. Yeah. And it takes a lot of patience not to just yank everything.
It does. That's why it's so good to have that container garden too, so that it's eye level and you don't have to bend over. Yeah. That's making concessions the older we get. So that's okay. I love that. Yeah.
You know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I know.
I like having the elevated planters. It just makes life so much easier.
It definitely does. And they have that upside down tomato plant. Have you ever seen that?
I've tried that. My sister did it. It worked great. I tried it. It didn't work at all.
It's just a little cherry tomatoes. Yeah.
It didn't work for me, but it works great for my daughter-in-law.
Yeah, it worked great for Jan and not for me, which is really funny because Jan's the one that can't grow anything. I'm the one that usually grew everything. my little sister.
There are people that can't grow a certain thing. My mother would always kill an African violet. She couldn't keep them alive. And her friend had 20 of them. It's just amazing how, the different people have a different.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Patricia, okay. I'll let you say that first.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, Patricia was talking about having water in a barrel. Well, that's how a lot of us watered, especially in Kansas, until they had wells. If you didn't catch the water the few times that it rained, you didn't have anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And wells are so expensive to drill.
Yeah.
I think our wells cost us about $30,000.
The first well we drilled when we moved a house in and put in a foundation and everything, we had to do 2. The first one pumped 50% sand. You didn't need soap to take a shower. You were
talking about that old gritty feel, huh? Okay.
Yeah, and it took care of all the diapers for the kids too, because no matter how much you rinsed it, once the sand got in, you couldn't use them.
Wow, that's
unless you wanted to give kids rashes all the time.
Yeah. And Scott, I understand what you're saying. I had never any interest, or it was like that was my mother's thing to do, was a garden, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. But the older I get in the just walking my property now, I just can enjoy, and the birds will come and they'll, whatever they're doing. And
the first time I bought a house, I fell in love with gardening.
Wow.
And I have a lot of times, I don't mind having plants. And if they die, that's fine with me. We'll just get more plants. So, I mean, and I just, I like having plants around. I like having flowers. I like cut flowers because I don't feel guilty about throwing them away.
Yeah, I hear you. Here in this part of Washington State, we have a lot of lavender. And that's one of my very favorite things.
Oh, too. I love lavender. Yes, one of my very favorite plants too. And yet I always kill it.
I have not had that problem. It's just really, And
that's one of the ones I cannot grow.
That's one of the major, lavender is one of my major allergies. So I think I just like to look at other ways to do it.
Hi, Linda.
I do love the gardening. I would go out, and I didn't want to do it every day. But when I went out to garden, I didn't want to do anything else but be in the garden.
Sure. In the garden. If it was a beautiful day, it's a good reason to be outside.
If we could just feel that way about our lives. The same way we do about gardening.
Absolutely. I love this, Deborah.
There you go.
She was in her garden. Yeah. She planted banana trees and palms, and it looks like Florida. I planted a plum tree, an olive tree, ginkgo, and persimmon. Oh, Deborah, that sounds wonderful.
That sounds fun.
That sounds like our yard that you planted with all those different fruit trees, so that when they came in, you can just give stuff away.
Oh God, we had mango trees, we had papaya trees, lemon, lime.
Yep.
We even had star fruit, which I love.
Fruit.
Yeah.
What I never knew until maybe a couple of years ago was that if you're planting trees, you have to have a male and a female.
It depends. Yeah, it depends.
And it's in those big cherries that everybody likes. We want to do grow them. You have to have 2 different breeds of trees
Oh,
to
Interesting.
get Bing cherries.
so there's another metaphor for life
Mhm.
right there.
Yeah.
You have to
You
have
have
two
you
two
have to have
opposing
things mixing
sexes in
together.
order to have babies. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
The
That's
only
amazing.
cherry tree that would grow exactly what you expected were the sour cherries. Apple, cherry pie apple cherries.
Yeah.
But if you wanted the Bing cherries, you had to have black tartarian and some other one I don't remember. And
Yeah.
it would fit
No.
you.
Yeah, I think
and I
usually
did know
for
that.
fruit trees, you do have to
Yeah.
have the male
You have
and
to have it.
female.
Something about the pollination, right? It's
Mhm.
got
Right.
the pollination. Yeah. Yeah, it does take 2 to
Yeah,
tango.
we had banana trees. We had, you name it, we had it.
Mhm.
It was like, I want an edible garden.
Sure.
And you did.
Well,
You had it.
And
You
we definitely had it. It was
nothing better
We
than
even grew our own ginger.
Mhm.
ooh, yeah. Nothing better than going outside and getting a fresh tomato,
I
hot
know.
off the stalk, and cutting it. My husband loves tomato sandwiches. So,
Oh, I used to love tomatoes so much, fresh tomatoes like that. And the iguanas would get my tomatoes.
uh-oh, not good, not good. The
Yeah.
same for corn and some
Yeah,
beans. I didn't know that.
I didn't
Thank
know
you.
that for corn
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
I
So,
know
what
it
do
was
you need
good
to
to
do? You
plant
need to
corn
know
and
the
beans
rules.
together,
Yeah.
companion planting. Corn
Uh-huh.
and beans are good to grow together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really cool because so in a way you have to make sure you know the rules, just like you do in life, the spiritual rules and the gardening rules. You're watering your daffodils, Jenny. Well, good girl. There you go.
Oh, I saw some daffodils yesterday at CSU. They were just beautiful, all different colors.
That's
They
wonderful.
were
I have a few out
fantastic.
my front yard and I'm excited about seeing them. I really am.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love the
Yeah.
spring, and I'm so glad it's here.
I know.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I love you had stuff from your garden for Passover. That's
Lovely.
wonderful. That's wonderful. And I must admit, Vidalia onion sandwiches.
Oh, yes.
They're wonderful.
Vidalia onions. Oh my God. Are they not the best onions ever?
You know, I never knew about them till I lived in Texas because I don't think that they.
That's where I found them.
Yeah,
Heard about
yeah.
them was when I lived in. Where did you live in Texas?
I lived in King County. I lived outside of Houston in Kingwood. Yeah.
Right.
I lived there for about 7 years in the 90s. I did not care for it, but I did get my master's degree there. So I made hay while the sun
I was going
shined.
to say, my daughter was
Yeah.
in Houston when she was at that school.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Houston for 3 months, and then I moved to England. I
Uh-huh.
was so glad to get out of Houston.
Oh, well, it's too hot for me in the summer. I
It's
can't.
too hot and
Yeah.
humid. Just
Yeah, very
horrendous.
humid. Yep.
And then,
Which
then
is
we
why
moved to Key West, right, where it's cold, right?
Yeah. Key West was even worse.
Everybody
Jenny says
knows
Walla
how to use
Walla
an air
sweet
conditioner.
onions, heaven all fried up in butter. Jenny, you can bring me one of those. I've never
Walla
heard of
Walla's
Walla
got some.
Walla
We have
onions.
sweet onions here in Washington State, and they're delicious. But there's something about a Vidalia. I could almost eat it like an
I know
apple.
you can. You
Yeah.
could almost eat it like an apple.
Yeah. Yep.
They're so delicious.
Oh wow. Oh, so you lived in Austin, Paul?
I know you
5
lived in
years.
Austin.
Oh,
Paul.
there you go. My daughter went to school at
UT?
Southwest Texas State in San Marcos, which is some other name now, but that's where she got her undergraduate degree.
Yeah, my older sister went to UT.
Okay.
From Walla Walla, Washington. Okay, Jenny, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is bamboo like having sugar cane?
Bamboo is extremely
Aggressive.
aggressive. Yeah.
Well, because
yeah.
Where is that? I can't.
Oh, we
lost
worked
it.
at Dell. Okay, yeah.
Play Love Remember was saying she'd had bamboo in Florida, and I'm going, I never did. What's that like?
There was bamboo in Florida. I didn't eat it, but I mean,
no, I didn't eat it either.
But think of the bamboo shoots you eat in Chinese food.
Yeah, like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
You just keep cooking them until they get.
Yeah. Oh, you lived in Sugar Land for a while,
Wow.
lady?
Well, I was born and raised in Fort Worth.
Okay, so not far from there, really. A couple hours, 3 or 4 hours, maybe, huh?
Well, I think it just occurred to me. It's really strange because you were, Priscilla, you're from Texas, so you're in the middle of the state. And right now you're in California, so you're in the western part of the United States. And
no, she's in Washington.
Washington. Yeah, I'm in Washington. Yeah.
Washington, D.C. or Washington State?
Washington State.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's western part of the United
Right.
States.
Mm-hmm.
Or I grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey. So we've got the country covered.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I grew up in New Hampshire, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you?
I
You were
did.
there too. Okay.
No, I've lived in 11 different states.
I never
kind of-
found
Yeah, and I've never been in the army. No one in my family was, moving me around armed services. It was never that. It was just I had to learn more about my country and
So you like
everybody in
it?
it.
Seems
Yeah.
like I move about every 8 years. I mean, Texas, when David and I had the ranch, that was the longest I'd lived anywhere, and that was like
Uh-huh.
13 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I tend to move about every 8 years.
There you go.
And I didn't realize it until I started looking back and going,
This is the longest I've been anywhere. I've been here since 2007, and that's a long time for me. And I have no
I
intention of
understand.
going anywhere else if I can help it. But I just want to bring up, just as a garden can flourish with the right care and attention, our lives can. Transformation and resilience are not just qualities we're born with, but skills we can develop over time. And we need to embrace challenges, learn from setbacks, and cultivate a growth mindset, which is really wonderful because one of the things that I teach when I teach freshman college success, we talk about the growth mindset. There are a lot of people that have the fixed mindset where, nothing's going to change. Everything is going to be this way. And then you got the growth mindset, which of course is like a garden that will flourish.
Which tends to be what we have in our community, is more of a growth mindset. We're always talking about kick that box open. Don't get the hell out of that box. What box? What box? No box.
And when
How important that is, because we have just been programmed to fit right in this little tiny box, and we are so much more than that.
And when you were talking about being able to grow, I was thinking in terms of, okay, well, now we have all these garden plants, but every single one of them have been, in some cases, genetically altered to adapt more to where we are. So you've got what you want. And basically, that's what we're doing in our lives. We're adapting other things so that we can be more of what we want. So when you get down to it, even the seeds have been changed. Just like our seeds have changed. We're saying we don't want this anymore. We're going to do this, which is what they were doing with wheat, for instance. They didn't want all the diseases, so they started developing wheat seed that were disease resistant, so they would produce better. Same thing with us. We do better because we have changed things.
Just don't genetically modify me, thank you.
That's
but we are being genetically modified.
Well, we are by you're right, by the cosmos.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, true.
Our DNA has been changed so that we can do what we need to do.
What we need to do.
So
I love that whole idea.
That's just like in gardening, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I know that most people, when I was growing up, never moved within 40 miles of where they lived. And, and I remember
the same job for their whole life.
No, I had high school friends who were married to the same person right out of high school, lived in the same house, lived in the same state, never went on vacations, and then died in their 50s. And it's like
scary.
Yeah,
that's like my brother, except they did move different houses. He just got larger and larger and larger, but they still stayed in New Jersey. So,
and everybody's different. That's their choice, but it's just like, we were afforded the opportunity. Yeah, we were afforded the opportunity to say, hey, not for me. See you later. Yeah. So, wow.
Interesting.
It is, but personal growth does require us time and effort. We need nurturing, care, and attention to thrive, just like a garden does.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to pay attention to what we eat and how getting some exercise, the people and the information we surround ourselves with.
When you talk about the dynamics of the garden, you're always having to nurture positive and supportive things.
Yes.
So that your environment, you want to stay above to where you're observing rather than getting involved in it. And it's kind of like the same thing in the garden.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mary
Uh,
Thornberry just informed me that all Campbell's soups now are all GMO ingredients. I guess, what are we going to do without cream of mushroom soup for things?
I make it.
A
Yeah.
different brand. That is just pathetic. I can't believe it. Our
You
food has
did,
changed
Mary?
so much since we were
Well,
kids.
she calls
Go
Campbell.
Mary. Go
Go
Mary.
I think it's the Big Island of Hawaii. No GMOs.
Good
They
for
won't
them.
allow. Yeah.
And
I'm pretty
if you go to certain grocery stores, like the one that my daughter works for, they don't have Campbell soups. They
No?
have. They are a vegetarian
Yeah.
store.
Isn't it didn't you work for Natural Grocers?
Grocers, National
Uh-huh.
Natural Grocers, and they have to meet specifics for that company to be allowed to have anything.
That's a
anywhere on
great
their shelves.
grocery store.
It
Wow.
is
It is.
Yeah.
It's a really good grocery
Is that
store.
like Sprouts, that type of a
Kinda.
store?
better.
Yeah. Okay. Better.
I like it better than Sprouts myself.
Yeah.
And what's the name of it again? What is it?
Natural Grocers.
Natural
It's
Grocers.
Natural
founded.
Grocers.
It's founded in Colorado. I don't
Well,
know. It's a mom and pop type thing. It's not
Yeah.
really a mom and pop. It's a family thing now.
Sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and I have been impressed. They have the best produce that I've run across, and all of it's organic.
Wow. That's fabulous.
I'm gonna have to go to the one in Fort Collins. I always go to Lucky's, which is another local company, and because it's the closest one to me, and it's
Mhm.
kind of like a Sprouts or a more like a Trader Joe's, I guess.
Oh. Now, Play Love, remember, you were studying landscape architecture. Now that just blows my mind.
Wow.
Oh my. I mean, it's funny because there's a really great movie. If you're into movies that are more historical, there was one, I think Kate Winslet was in it, and she was like the architect for the gardens at Versailles.
Wow.
And
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
and you know how, because I have never been there, but you can see, if you watch a movie or whatever, how beautifully landscaped they all
Oh,
are.
it's amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's funny.
I make
Cream of
mine
mushroom.
now too. It's so easy. It's
Yeah.
so easy.
Uh-huh.
When you want that can of cream of mushroom soup for a casserole, it's like, well, crap.
Well, I make it up and I
plan.
throw it. It's just me. So
Yeah,
I
true.
put it in containers. I stick it in the freezer. When I need it, I just pull it out.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
and I'm getting back to gardening. They were talking, and I was reading this one, and it talks about relationships. And then I remembered something that Priscilla said, because they put corn and beans together because they grow well together. But that's a symbiotic type relationship.
Companion planting is what it's called.
But anyway, it's the same thing. You want to put certain vegetables together. You want to put certain people together.
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing. Is relationships count both places?
Uh-huh.
Now mine, the one I liked on the information I got was putting a fence around your garden, creating boundaries.
Creating good.
We need women are crap at boundaries until you get a little bit older.
We
And I
used
think
to
our
be.
younger
We're getting
generation-
better. Yeah,
Yes,
we're
I
getting
think our
better.
younger generations are doing
Yeah.
much better than we were, but
Mhm.
it
Uh-huh.
took me a long time to understand boundaries
Sure.
because being an empath, you always want to help. And then,
Well, I wasn't
people.
taught anything about it, and my mother
No.
never knew how to do it. But my daughter's a therapist, and she taught me.
Isn't that yeah? My daughter's a therapist too. Interesting.
Is she really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll talk about it all the time. She'll say, boundaries all the time.
Well, it's important for our generation. Let me put it like
definitely is.
that. And
You can be
Yeah.
stepped on very easily simply because some people have no boundaries and
Yeah.
believe that yours are theirs.
Correct.
that's so true.
That's
That
very
is so
true.
true.
Yeah.
Particularly those narcissistic types.
Yeah. I like
And
the
another
idea-
one I like
Oh, go
that
ahead.
this one had was you got to do shit jobs in the gardening. All the manure I've put in my garden over the
Uh-huh.
years.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And weeding.
Yeah.
Weeding is one of those shit jobs.
How to weed out those things that aren't there to serve your highest good.
Exactly. That thorny shadow work.
Yeah. Well, even the little fences that you have to put up to protect the plants, because
Like a tomato
dogs,
cage.
kids run through them, and
Oh yeah.
dogs and cats and everything. And so, yeah, you need to have as Frost said, good fences make good neighbors.
Exactly.
And so,
And
yeah.
I want to know how you.
It's funny to say this, but sometimes you need labels on people, just like you do plants.
Oh, I love it. To identify your plants, you need a label to identify people.
This person I need to treat just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I want to know. I'm really curious, Aley. How do you keep the deer out of your garden?
I don't really have
Or you
any.
don't?
I don't have vegetables, so
Okay.
that's the good thing.
Okay.
I have mostly bushes and flowers and things like that. They tend to walk on the other side of my property. I actually have family of elk that will walk through and go out the other way, and they are my priority. I would rather have the deer than the food.
Isn't that the
honestly.
truth? I just love the deer and
I do
elk.
too. Yeah.
My granddaughter just went up to Estes Park last week and
Ooh.
managed to film bighorn sheep and their babies climbing around. I just love that. I don't know
Yeah.
if they were right, if they was on the way to Estes Park or if they were up in Rocky Mountain National Park. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
But you can always see deer and elk and
Yeah.
wildlife up in Rocky Mountain National Park.
We have just pushed them out so much with our building and our, it's horrible. There's no places for them. But I do have a couple of wet wildlife preserve land.
That's good.
And so, yeah, so we're very happy to see them. And some have actually seen some brown bear. Somebody told me one time, I was walking out of the back of a pathway, and this man blew his horn and pulled over in front of like where I was walking, and he said, "Did you know there was a bear following you?"
No.
They had a brown bear on campus at CSU a couple of years.
Oh wow!
Years ago. I think it might have been during the wildfires. They were moving.
Sure.
It,
they're gonna have a place to be. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Yep. Oh, this is what Mary suggests. Now, this is a riot. I mean, who sells coyote urine is what I want to know. I've never heard of it. Mary is quite
the collect
coyote
urine is my next question.
Yeah, I know. It's like when the doctor says, "Could you please get a pee sample from your dog?" I mean, how do you do that? I've never figured that out.
I can tell you because I have to do it on Tuesday morning. They gave me a little tray. And I've done it once before. It's a little plastic tray, and then they have a pipette and a bottle, and you shove the tray under their butt as they squat.
Okay.
Pull it out, use the pipette. So that's what I get to do on Tuesday for my dog for her urine sample.
Wow.
That's why I know I have it coming up.
At the feed store. Okay, Mary. That's
cool.
cool.
Hi, Soria. I love it. How are you?
Yeah,
I got to meet her in Key West. She and Paul.
Oh, you did?
Key West.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I like Ginny's comment. She was saying she liked labeling perennial and.
This one was an annual, or this was
an annual visit. This is a perennial. Yep, I get you. Oh my God. Yeah.
I love that. That's hilarious.
I know. Well, we did find out you can buy coyote urine. I just am so glad to know that now. Thank you, Mary. Mary, you're a wealth of knowledge, honestly. A bag of bone meal is good to blend some in the bottom when preparing to put your plants in, unless you have dogs. Yes.
I did that one year, and I had every neighborhood cat. No, it was fish meal I put in. At the neighborhood showed up.
Oh, I bet you did.
Never again.
It's a banquet.
Yeah, that's exactly what they thought. It was a banquet.
And if you have raccoons and skunks around, as far as they're concerned, they don't make a fence that can keep those out. If they want in, they're going.
Yeah.
True enough.
Rabbits
True enough.
That's awesome. Oh, wow. Well,
what a fun night.
It's been fun. Is there anything else that you ladies want to say before we head out into the into the
Thank you for
evening?
having us. It
Oh,
was great
Yes,
to be
thank
here
you very
again.
much for having us. It's been great fun, and I think everybody, I mean, we've done a lot of laughing here, but if you think about it, everybody in the chat, if they think about gardens and their own lives, I know they can
Yeah.
see parallels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
hi,
definitely.
Perrette.
And there's Pierrette, another Canadian. Whoop,
I
whoop,
lo- You have been, tonight has been full of Canadians.
It has been, and we
We've had at
love
least
you
a
guys.
dozen, I swear.
Yes,
That is
we're
so
happy.
fun.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's wonderful to have it.
I really appreciate you Canadians. I really love you.
We all do. Yes, we all
We
do.
really
Very
do.
much.
And
We used to have a crew come
judge us on
down.
our insanity in Washington.
So I loved the crew that used to come down, and we were wheat farmers, and they were from Saskatchewan.
Oh,
And I just could hardly wait for them to get down there. I mean, we did most of the cutting ourselves, but they finished it up. Because in wheat, you got to do it as fast as you can do it.
sure.
One
Sure.
day late, you may lose the whole thing. So you got to do it as fast as you can.
Wow.
But they were so much fun to be around.
That's wonderful. And I bet they thought it was really warm there.
I bet they did in Camden.
And, well, they were usually on their way towards Texas. We were in Kansas.
Oh,
They-
okay. You were
no,
just
actually, they were coming up because everything gets ripe as you come north.
Yeah,
Sure.
as you move north.
it makes
They
sense.
probably came out of Texas, out of
Yeah.
Mexico and Texas.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, Priscilla, you have happy trails to you picking up
Thank you,
your
my dear.
your van this week, and to Heather, I hope you find the right place to move
I will
to
when it's time.
when it's time, all in divine timing. And please make sure you come back and see me when you're back together.
Yes,
And
we want you back on our show as well.
absolutely,
Sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
We do.
Absolutely.
It's been lots of fun.
yes, it has.
Thank you,
Thanks
my dear.
everybody in the chat. You guys made it all enjoyable too. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Bye bye, everyone.